mile an hour, plowing into your rear end. When he's behind the wheel, he ain't got no friends. You better tighten up your seatbelt, so it don't melt. Better get ready. That looks like it's stone. Congratulations, you just got your bell rung by Bondo Jones. Accident prone, born in a Buick that was hit head on. He's a demolition derby man. He's all a wreck one car can stand.
Stand by for more Olympic moments. From Woodstock, Georgia, Motor Madness presents live the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dixie Crash Fest. In case you thought Demolition Derby was a product of the 1950s, have a look in the infield. Over 138 entries for tonight's destruction. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans, and welcome to Dixie Speedway, one of the oldest and proudest dirt half miles in all of the Southeast. Now, tonight, the speeds are going to be higher. The impacts are going to be harder because this is the longest battlefield we've brought you so far on Motor Madness. And one driver has come an awful long way to inflict this kind of punishment on himself. He's with Bob Fry.
He's the dog, and the last time that we saw him here on TNN's Motor Madness, it was more madness than motor. He's come 640 miles to try to make amends for that dog down in Florida. Wasn't your day?
No, it wasn't. You know, we did qualify into the main event, but when we got into the pit area to work on the car, we found out that the transmission linkage had broke on the inside. We'd had to drop the valve body to fix it, just didn't have time. But we did come a long way this time. We got a lot of friends looking back at us, and the people that helped me get here, I really want to, you know, say thank you to them, and we'll see what we can do for them.
And we'll see tonight if he can live up to that name on the side of the race car. Hopefully for him it will be Beware the Dog. For more on one of the characters here tonight, let's go over to Bob Gerald.
Lighting the torch for the Demolition Derby games tonight will be Doug Rose in the world-famous green Mamba jet car. Now, on Motor Madness on TNN, we've shown you all kinds of stuff. We've seen stunt jumps. We've seen guys riding wheelies over tight ropes. But we've never incinerated an Oldsmobile, and that's what we're going to do tonight. And Doug Rose, my question for you, how hot's that going to be?
Well, the fire coming out of the tailpipe of the afterburner is over 3,000 degrees. It's hot enough to melt a car right in half, right down the middle.
And we're looking forward to it. You're going to get to see it live tonight on television. Now, joining me in the pits, a guy from right here in the state of Georgia, the kind of guy your mother always warned you about, Tim Wilson.
All that from a man from Northern California. Pretty much enough said. Thanks, Bob Gerald. This is Tim Wilson. I'm in my home state. I know how to act down here, and this crowd is excited right here, folks. We have got a knockdown, drag-out, hide-the-kids grudge match between Alton Ames and Ronnie Jones coming up. More on that later. Back to you, Steve Evans.
Hey, thank you, Tim Wilson. Not all the action tonight is going to be from Dixie Speedway because our home base in Charlotte, their plate is pretty full as well. Listen to this. Steve Burns takes on retired NBA star Brad Doherty, now involved in the Craftsman Truck Series. Risk Max comes along with the trial by fire as a broadcaster. Ernie Irvin will be along as well. Here is Katie Haas and Steve Burns. Tonight we are located northeast of Atlanta in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia. This year Woodstock celebrates its centennial year, and the original train station now serves as a community center, complete with the dogwoods in bloom.
They're lining up for the first heat for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dixie Crash Fest. And I'll tell you, after watching Katie throw up some of those bricks, safest place around this weekend might be right out here on the track with the demo derby cars. We got a great field lined up for him. To meet one of our drivers, let's go down to Bobby Gerald.
Well, his family is here to cheer him on. His mother and his girlfriend are here. And we're talking about Brad White, who has graduated with a degree in radio and television from Morehead State. And Brad, what the heck are you doing driving in a demo derby? I understand you're in graduate school.
Yes, it started out as just a hobby, and I was fortunate enough to let it pay for my college education, and now I'm in graduate school and hope to go on.
Tell me about your strategy here.
Well, I'm going to observe just a little bit of patience as they take off the line, let everybody else kind of go away, and then I'll make my move for wherever I'm going.
All right, go ahead and fire it up as we get a chance to throw it over to Tim Wilson with another guy.
Hey, Tim Wilson is here with one of the Dixie Crash Fest headliners, Alton James, '96 Georgia champion. Alton, you're going up against Ronnie Jones, the other co-champion. Y'all are co-champions. We're going to find out who's the man here today. I hear y'all are good friends, but Ronnie's been saying a lot of stuff about your wife and your family, and he said some pretty bad stuff about your dog.
Maybe the wife, but never my dog. I'll take care of him when the time comes.
You got another little project to do here before the Grudge match comes up. They hit hard out here. What are you going to do?
Hit hard back.
He's going to hit hard back.
I love the lack of a key on that first guy that Bobby talked to. You know, one of the rookie drivers in this heat has been attracted to Demolition Derby because of his lifelong love of racing. It's a personal passion for the sport that he's graciously decided to share with all of us tonight.
Well, y'all come on in. Welcome to Hot Rods World. This is my hobby.
Ron Manili of Dallas, Georgia loves everything to do with racing. Ron's such a devoted fan that he's created his own personal museum with an enormous collection of die-cast models.
Here's another room right here. I got some more in here. The good old days. This is the old NASCARs. This is how they used to haul them things. This was high class. If you had a ramp truck and a couple of boards and a car like this, you was in hog heaven. This is a type hobby where you're not going to lose money in it. It always goes up in value. Down here we got some more little cars that Sizzler puts out. I guess you say they're my toys, but I'm a big boy and I still like to play with toys.
Ron likes toys, and he also likes to race, but that can be a problem for a car perfectionist.
Well, the reason I'm doing Demolition Derby is because I like racing and all, and I've always been concerned about my own car. I don't want to tear it up. I was real particular about it. I didn't want to ding it, scratch it, nothing like that. This is something where I don't have to worry about the scratch. I don't have to worry about tearing it up. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna crush it. And hey, I guess anything on my side, I'm gonna probably crush it too.
Ron Manili is a man who loves his hobbies, and he's found a way to combine collecting with his newest passion, Demolition Derby.
Well, with all these cars, I'm thinking about maybe having a new hobby called the die-cast derby, because there's two birds. There's a firebird and a superbird, but there's only one bird before he comes. Oh, no, get
If I know Ron, he's got two of each of those in his collection. He wouldn't risk scratching them. It is time, Bob Fry, for heat number one. They're counting them down.
There you go, two of the guys who we've already met. Number 2.5, alt names, and the collector, over 10,000 models in his basement. It's the journalism major, Brad White, and on William Junger. Bobby, don't call me Buster Couch in the 69X car.
And these cars aren't all from just around here, from northern Illinois, from Kansas, from all over the place. This will be about 12 minutes in duration. The judges, headed by Dutch Holland, will pick 7 or 8 cars to go directly to a main event. And, Bob, the speeds are so much higher on this long course, we're going to have to be a little careful to have something left for the main.
David Owen in the 21 car, one of the few Mopars. Look at that, spun that baby right around. You're going to see some big hits tonight. There's the number 01 car. That's Ron Manili. And he's got that thing clenched right in his teeth, and I think somebody's in big trouble because you're supposed to have 4 of them, Steve.
You are, and they could black flag him for losing a wheel like that. They don't want to tear up this track for a sprint car race tomorrow night. They said the tires have to stay on the wheel.
Tommy Kent's in the 20K car, just getting bumped around right there by Manili, who looks like he's got a pretty good start, although this is a 12-minute marathon, just like the Olympics. And our onboard camera, there we go. That's the 222 car, and he had some trouble very early. Brad White. And even though his mom's a professor right down at Georgia Southern, might not help him here this evening, because I don't believe this is a postgraduate course, Steve.
I don't believe it is. This is not Demo 101. They have to be aggressive to score points for the judges. If you lay around them for a couple of minutes and don't hit anybody, you're not going to make the main event. But you've got to be careful, too.
Right in front there, the number 97 car. That was Doug Duke, who was kind of dead in the water. You can see him right there, and he's got big troubles already. Unlike some of the other demo derbies you saw in Motor Madness, Steve, the guys sit here, the duration is so short, the track's so fast, you're going to see a lot of hitting with the front end of the cars.
The only thing you're really not supposed to do is hit into driver's door, which is why you'll see a lot of these pretty straight on the left-hand side. Let's go down to Tim Wilson.
Hey, I'm down here with Brad White's mother, Sharon.
Yes, hi, how are you? I'm a little nervous right now.
Tell me where y'all are from. Adams County, Ohio.
Yes, that's right, West Union, Ohio.
We got some of these northerners coming all the way down here to the south to get into this. Tell us, Brad's driving for a friend of his?
Yes, he is. Brad's driving number 222. He and number 888 and 921 are running in memory of a fellow driver and fraternity brother, Gary Grimsley, who died in a car accident on August 24th this year. So we're dedicating this race tonight to Gary.
Well, God bless you, Sharon. Back up to you, Steve Evans.
Okay, that is one excited lady, and her kids did a good job, too. There he is, 222.
Gary Grimsley was born and raised, by the way, right here in Woodstock, Georgia. There's our other guy, Ron Maneely, and I don't know if he's got a collector's car that looks like that on the shelf, and this could be a big upset if he's in trouble real early right out here in the program.
He's hung up with a red car just in front of him.
That's Terry Hadley's car, and they are both deadlocked, and that's not going to help either one of them out. They're sitting ducks, Steve, and if somebody slams one of these, gets a big run like you can get here at this racetrack, they're going to be in awful trouble.
And you can see what Ron is trying to do. He's trying to keep those rear wheels turning. There's 2.5. He's in a bit of trouble as well. That's Alton Ames. Okay, I'll tell you, the crash and the bash is starting early here at Dixie Speedway. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Motor Madness.
It's the Demolition Derby. He's all the wreck one car can stand. Meanest man driving, and there ain't no lie.
A lot of folks out here cheering on the 222, and Brad White, all the way down from Ohio, calls his car triple deuce because he said 3-2s are hard to beat. He is doing surprisingly well. At least he is. It's more than I can say for his bumper.
I don't like the way the front end is bent up either. In fact, the rear end of these cars should bend up, not down onto the wheels and tires. They're going to notch the frames right. 222 is hanging in there. I think he'll get a berth in the main event, but he's got to keep rolling to do it.
Don't know if many of these guys are going to last the 12-minute time limit. We're on board again. That's our crash cam. Couple of station wagons out there. I talked to the dog earlier, and he said some of the station wagons now getting hard to find. You can see a bunch of them out there for the derbies, and surprisingly enough, some of the cars, Alton Ames wagons, doing well. The 01 car, that's Ron Maneely, who looks like he is a dead player, a souvenir, and it could be good night for Hot Rod, Ron Maneely.
I tell you, he has turned a full-size wagon into a miniature now. They can find a place for it in his collection. And it's not just body damage. The first thing that goes is the radiator. You can see steam coming out of that one. Bobby Gerald?
One of the things, guys, that all of the drivers and teams are talking about is this particular derby pit that they're running on tonight. It's a lot different than anything we've seen in the past on Motor Madness. It is banked. It's a front straightaway of a racetrack that they use for sprint cars and stock cars, and there is banking, so you have to deal with that. Plus, it's a whole lot longer, as you guys talked about. You can really build up some speed and do some serious hitting out here, and this one's going to be a war. I think we're going to see a lot more damage in the main event cars tonight because they have to deal with all the action here in the heat races on a much harder hitting racetrack.
Kevin Huggins in the 84 car doing well. Bobby, a little word of advice by that wall. You might want to duck down. 2 reasons. Parts could fly, and Katie's still taking some practice shots, and some of those babies could bounce all the way down here. Look at that. How about that? Let's go join Tim Wilson down there. Tim?
Hey, this is my hometown, so they told me I had to supply the good-looking women, so I did. This is my wife, Ronit, my daughter, Sophia, their friend, Julie, and all their ugly, ugly boyfriends up on the top here. Have you girls picked out a winner yet?
Yeah, number 429, Top Gun. 222. 31.
31. It's their first Demolition Derby, and they seem to be having a pretty good time. Now, y'all go cook me some food somewhere.
When you raise those kids and get their driver's license, Tim, you'll find out what a real demo derby is like. The 45 car's doing well. That 429 Top Gun they mentioned about, Terry Fannon's doing a very good job. Our camera car, 3 deuces. Might be tough to beat when you're playing poker, but he has really got big trouble here, Steve.
He is parked, and I don't mean valet. For these drivers in the first heat, they can consider themselves lucky. They'll have more time to try to patch them up if you can patch that up. It looks like I got hit by a piece of space junk. Bobby Gerald?
Well, the 222 car has slowed down a little bit out there, Steve, and Tom White, the chief, is Brad's father. Tom, what's the deal?
Well, I don't know for sure. I'm afraid we've lost the drive shaft. He's got it folded up pretty bad. Everybody's wanting to hit that in-car camera he's carrying for you. But we're really glad to be here in memory of a fraternity brother, demolition buddy of his for several years, Gary Grimsley, who passed away in a car accident last year.
Right now, this team is just hoping that the 222 has scored enough points to advance. It's not necessarily the last guy running. It depends on how many points you score and how aggressive you were out here during the green flag action.
Absolutely, Bobby. There's the cheering section for 222. That should put a smile on the face of the engineers, doesn't it, when he said everybody's taking a hit at your onboard camera?
429 is doing a wonderful job. Terry Fannon's car is very strong. Surprisingly, the 84 car, Kevin Huggins, not a lot of damage on that car, Steve, and it's not a station wagon, the four-door models.
And it's folding up in the rear the way it absolutely should to form kind of a battering ram there.
Larry Statch just to the right of the screen there. He's doing a wonderful job, too. Now, the 429, look at that. Almost looks like it's right off the showroom floor.
If there was an award for strategy in this first heat, it would go to Terry Fannin in that 429. He kind of got up against the wall, made a loop around this whole field at the start, and held back about a minute before he really got into it. So he's got something left to fight with.
And that's more than most of the guys in this opening match can say. Hasn't been a good day for the bumpers there. Stats, we were just mentioning him doing a very good job. And there's the collision between two of the guys that I think will advance into the finals. Huggins got the 84 car. Stats has the 45 car. Nice to have a sponsor from an auto body shop if you're at the demo derby, Steve.
That's right, and about 1,000 pounds of Bondo to fix this wreckage. 45 is really wants, I think, a little break right here. He's had about enough for 30 seconds or so if he can get away.
The station wagons seem to be doing pretty good, and they're just about ready to give him the flag in the end of the heat. And I like 429, Terry Fannin, Kevin Huggins, the 84 car, Larry Statz, and you can see there's not a whole lot of motion. One or two Chrysler cars down there, Steve. Surprising, the majority of these Chevrolet-powered machines. Big machines, 350 cubic inch engines. A couple guys we'll talk about later actually have $3,000 and $4,000 invested in the engines of these cars.
That's true, and it's backward technology. You try to reduce as much friction as you possibly can because sooner or later that radiator is going to go. You need a motor that will continue to run. They run a lot of high-tech lubricants in these things, some space-age stuff. There's a bumper. Fred, you need a bumper for that Dodge Aspen of yours?
I'm not sure the motor or the radiator was the big problem for that guy we just saw. I talked with a couple of the drivers. They said they bring 4 or 5 radiators because they think they got a chance to stay alive. We'll come back and take a look at the guys that survived and look at some more right here on TNN Motor Madness.
It's the Demolition Derby man. He's all the wreck one car can stand. Hi, I'm Tim Wilson, and Georgia is my home state. We're famous for a lot of stuff here. Peaches, peanuts, and dog wood.
Now, but you could just get Tim playing properly with the puppy. Remember, Tim, you throw the stick. You throw the stick. All right, the winner has been declared of heat number 1. The survivor, I guess I should say. That is number 429, Terry Fannin. Let's go down to Bobby Gerald.
Terry Fannin is a winner here in heat race number 1. Congratulations on that, Terry. Looks like your car came out remarkably well.
Yeah, it's been up a little bit. We'll have to take it back to the pits and do some repairs and stuff on it. You know, take and see what we can salvage of it.
What was the biggest hit that you suffered?
Oh, that one side shot, it kind of cracked my neck there a little bit. It was good. It was a good shot.
Now, this track is longer than what we've seen in the past on Motor Madness. How much speed can you generate? And, I mean, are you guys in danger out there? Is this safe?
No, you really shouldn't be in danger with the cage around you and the doors while it's shut. They can come in, but everything should be all right. The speed, I'd say we're probably running between 40 and 50 mile an hour.
All right, congratulations to you. When he talks about the cage in the car, he's talking about a bar that runs all the way around the front, and as you can see, it comes right over on his right arm and straight back. That helps reinforce the body of where the driver is sitting and keeps the driver safe out here in the Demo Derby action.
He's a big boy, and that's a big car, and he was one of the ones that managed to keep it upright and on all 4s and kept all 4 going around. Terry Fannin, there's Scruggs, Huggins, Larry Statz, and David Owen, and too bad old 222 didn't do well here in the opening session.
No, he certainly had the most charismatic cheerleaders, that's for sure. His mom, his dad, and all his friends. Bobby was talking about that bar across there. You're only able to add that bar in most associations if you've taken the dashboard out. Look at this.
I don't hear it. So if he says show it to me, my answer is show what?
Well, there's 222. He didn't have a lot left to fight with anyway, Bob. I'm not sure they could have got that car ready for the main event.
Now, a little moment of silence for our onboard camera there, the crash cam, so aptly named, and everything like this. He had some real problems with that thing. We got some more activity coming up, the Dixie Crash Fest, right here on TNN's Motor Madness Live.
This man driving, and that ain't no lie. He's legally blind in his good eye. He can't see much, but he can smell the kill. So you better not get caught standing still.
didn't see it, I wouldn't believe it.
If I wasn't here, I wouldn't have believed it.
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it.
These people just witnessed an amazing demonstration. We put this Duraloop-treated engine through the ultimate torture test. We drained all the oil, all the water, then flooded it with a fire hose. It kept on running because Duraloop protects your engine like no other product can.
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it myself.
Now, let Duraloop make a believer out of you. Duraloop, peace of mind in a bottle.
Well, Katie, you better keep your hair away from your monitor there on your downlink, because Doug Rose and the Green Mamba Jet just got through thrilling this crowd with a 300-mile-an-hour jet dragster on a little half-mile oval. But he did it with what drag racers call the fire show, and we taped that while we were away, and we're going to share it with you. Bob Fry, this is some serious fire.
Somewhere in there, believe us, there's a jet car.
A J37 General Motors jet turbine converted to run on gasoline instead of kerosene or JP4. It wouldn't do this on regular jet fuel.
Wouldn't do that on a regular highway either. At least I don't think so. Although that might come in handy when that guy's tailgating right behind you, you know. Here, read this bumper sticker.
And it's not what he does at a drag strip. It's a totally different fuel system for this little oval fire show. The drag strip, they do the thundering Howard burner pops because they can hold it, and if anything happens, they can just go down the racetrack.
Somewhere out there, Broadway Bob is watching that and saying, my boy, Doug Rose.
Doug Rose goes back 30 years with jet cars and invented this little stunt to try to pay the bills between drag strip appearances, the famous Green Mamba. Okay, we will see more of Doug a little later on, including the incineration of an Oldsmobile. Stay with us. We'll be back to Woodstock, Georgia.
Demolition Man.
We are back with more of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dixie Crash Fest. Most newspapers, major newspapers, get involved in charity things and equestrian events and golf tournaments. The Atlanta Constitution's at the Demo Derby, and we're proud.
Hey, you look at some of the cars getting set for this heat. Ronnie Jones and Fred Gates. We'll have look at Fred Gates coming up in just a little bit. He'll be in the 69 car, and a very interesting story. Tommy Price with the 83 car, and Randy Hood, number 49, in his 79 Oldsmobile. David Crow drives the 2 car. That's the pride of Chillicothe, number 74, and a 74 Lincoln, Tony Spurgeon. The 527 car will be Billy Klein, number 30, David Scheibner here in his second Demolition Derby. Number 420, that's Steve Grooms. He's lining up with number 18. Hopes he doesn't meet him anymore during the day, Chuck Roby.
The only thing they all have in common so far is facial hair until we get to Steve Penson Sr. He let me down. Chris Rogers, he got plenty of it, number 65, and a Hulk Hogan hat to go with it. Vic Whaley, number 14, Brian Miller, number 22, all in all, 19 cars.
Well, yeah, big, hard-driving steel man. W4, that's Jesse Wilson. 007, Jim Mullins. He is from Michigan. This is his first Demolition Derby. 22 cars, Billy Palmer. He's from Minnesota. Hey, take that, Brad Daugherty, another Final Four man. And the heavy equipment operator, Billy Taylor, number 88. And in the 89 car here, that is going to be Anthony Dunn. His car number 89, that's the same year his son was born. That's why he's got it on the side. Great cars here, including a guy in that number 69 car here that we're going to take a look at during this particular heat. Hope he fares better than our feature car in that last session. It's a guy that's got more than one reason for competing here this evening in the number 69 car, and he loves the sport of Demolition Derby for, well, a lot of reasons, but maybe not just because it's thrills here. As you take a look at the rest of the guys who are on the lineup here getting set for heat number 2 and see who can survive and go into this next round. So for the guy in the 69 car, hey, maybe good business, but he's a personal injury lawyer. Let's take a look here at Fred Gates driving in this heat.
Fred Gates has successfully practiced law in Atlanta for 20 years. He's a respected attorney who has earned a reputation as an aggressive advocate for his clients.
A lot of people expect attorneys to be kind of nasty and kind of mean, and I guess in that context, it's probably the only profession I can think of where you're not only expected to be on your worst behavior, but you're also paid to be on your worst behavior. Generally speaking, you do have to assume the role of a gladiator. a jiu-jitsu stylist, a judo stylist, a psychologist. There are times that you will have a knockdown, drag-em-out battle with no holes barred. As far as some transferable skills are concerned, there's a lot to be said between a good litigation battle in the courtroom and a good demolition derby contest. The minute that I got behind the wheel of the car and you actually get that adrenaline going and you get in the heat of this thing and it's real, real loud, dust flying all over the place, hits like you wouldn't believe, to go back to the country club and just have a round of golf or a tennis game is just not going to be the same. It's just not the same. I don't really think that a lot of the fellas that I compete with know that I'm a lawyer, and I really don't try to say too much because I guess, you know, if they knew I was a lawyer, maybe everybody would make a beeline to my car and put me out of action quick. I mean, to hell with everybody else. Let's get this guy. I mean, that will be the main feature tonight, getting the lawyer.
In just a few minutes, we will play Pin the Bumper on the Barrister. Let's go down to Bobby Gerald.
Well, Ron Hodges has had a stiff neck before, but he doesn't get them too often because he is a 4-time Michigan champion and 6-time Canadian champion. How'd you hear about this one in Georgia?
I watched it on TNN.
And that just brought you right out?
Yeah, I had to go ahead and put a car together and see if we can come down and give her a try.
All right, he's one of the best, bringing a little international flair, if you will, winning the 6 Canadian National Championships. Tim Wilson standing by with one of our grudge match guys. Tim?
Hey, I think I found Bondo Jones's brother. This is Rojo Jones in a 75 Fleetwood from Woodstock, Georgia. Folks, you are looking down the barrel of the local hero. There he is. Ronnie Jones, you got the grudge match coming up with Alton. And last time, Alton's tires ended up in your engine block, or?
Yeah, he wound up on top of the roof, and he couldn't get off, so we tied, and we've been waiting since last year to settle this. So we're going to settle it tonight. One of us is going to be a winner.
Somebody's going to get drug out of here is what you're saying.
Right. And I plan on it being him.
Hey, Southern hospitality. There it is, folks.
Ah, what a deal there. Well, the Barrister and the match race all coming up right here live on TNN's Motor Madness at Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia. We've got more crashing and banging coming up live next.
We're back, and the word has already gone out to light 'em up for heat number 2 here at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dixie Crash Fest in Woodstock, Georgia, also known as the other Woodstock. This will be about 12 minutes, Bob Fry, about 19 cars, and about as rough as it gets.
It's like a battle royal on wheels, the last man standing, and that will be interesting when we watch that match race later on today. Could be a first right here on TNN Motor Madness, Steve, a match race at the Demo Derby.
The green flag is out, the clock is spinning, the judges are watching. A very subjective judging system headed by Dutch Holland. Already there's a point for the 527 car. That'll count. That'll put him in good stead already. That's Bill Klein.
The 93 car trying to slide down there. That's Rojo. That's our match race guy. Here's our in-car camera. He's kind of sitting there. Ronnie Jones, he's got to do double duty here this evening. He'll be involved in that match race. Not a lot of moving going on. Number 888, Billy Taylor there. He was just kind of sitting. A lot of tough problems getting traction here, Steve, on this play.
And the yellow car, Chuck Robbie, with just 18. And there's a nice spin around by number 65. That was beautifully done for Chris Rogers.
And he sat there, and Bill Palmer came in, the guy from Minnesota. There are a bundle of folks down here in the infield from Minnesota that came down here trying to cheer on their boy. The 93 car, Rojo, just kind of sitting there and sliding backwards, and I don't believe that's by design.
Well, generally speaking, if you see steam this early out of a hood, he's in trouble.
A lot of guys kind of sitting around in the middle. Not quite as much motion as we saw. That's our onboard crash cam, and still trying to stay alive. There's a guy sponsored by me. That's the school paper company. You used to seeing all your homework projects, carbonless paper, and we saw them beating on that baby at the top of the show.
And that is Bill Palmer. Doesn't hurt to be flashy out there, and Palmer has a little of that. You can spin that car around, make a tag, spin it again. The key, of course, is keep those rear wheels spinning. Number 30 there, kind of a pretty car if you call any from 30, David Schrodner.
93 with a great arena shot right across Old Rojo. A lot of the folks out here cheering on for their favorites. See, there are a lot of guys that are just sitting there. We had perpetual motion in the first heat, but not a lot of motion right here.
It looks like I-285 on the way from the airport yesterday afternoon. Bobby Gerald.
Stand by. a lot of debris out on the racetrack, and one of the things we noticed right after that last heat race is we were getting ready to talk with some of the drivers for this heat race. There's a lot of metal that's ground in down on the speedway. But look what we found here. I don't know if there's any cassette tape decks functioning on any of the cars, but here's something that I don't think anyone's going to be using anytime tonight, guys.
Ooh, look at this move. Look at Redman. The blue wagon right there. Oh, and then he took a shot in return.
There are 3 guys running with this red man, Steve Penson Sr. He's got his son here and another team. They're part of what they call the Forest City Boys, and they do this an awful lot. Well, they don't do that an awful lot, but they do the demo derbies a lot. Rojo, meanwhile, trying to dish out a little bit of problem. That's Roby and the 93 car. Rojo doing a pretty good job as he's spinning that baby around.
He might have played a little bit of possum there, just long enough to where the judges didn't catch it. Play dead and come back to life.
I like the red man. The number 49 car there's got some problems. Let's catch up with Tim Wilson.
Red man. I'm down here with some Paulding County High School boys. Kaysen is the spokesman. Kaysen, who y'all looking at down here? Who you pulling for? Red man. He's a red man. Hey, move down here. Let's look at this right here. Gosh, hey, you think it's 20 degrees out here? Hey, there's some class acts at Paulding County High School. I can say that. Steve?
Oh, please ask my daughter to the prom.
Oh, yeah. I got a line there, but I'm going to eat it.
Okay. You realize that guy had an Alabama hat on here in Georgia. They could run him right out of town. Steve Penson Sr., part of the Forest, doing a great job and hitting all the damage on the back of the car, and that's what he wants to do, Steve.
And Ronnie Jones kind of sneak it in there. Here's the opposite end of this front straightaway at Dixie Speedway. 22 just lying there. I don't think he's playing possum either, Bill Palmer.
Yeah, that's the guy from Minnesota, and of course their basketball team's still alive, which is more than we can say for him. And the red man, he may win this one by attrition. The 18 car got the little puppet on top bouncing back and forth. Chuck Roby, he's been making a lot of moves, and the red man there, that was not his desire. He got whacked in the front, Steve, and slammed into the back of the other car.
No, it wasn't. I was going to try to spin it around and get that rear end poise where he can strike.
Rojo, staying alive.
Staying alive? Yeah, staying alive.
He's got that white suit and everything on down there, you can tell.
Maybe he's not staying alive. That's not fog coming in, folks. That's cooling out of the radiator.
A little smoke on the water, and that ain't good at the demo derbies. I'm not the most technically oriented guy in the world, Steve, but that's trouble, right?
I think we're going to keep the dust down under the 93 car, yeah. Rojo, isn't that Spanish for red?
That's Spanish for I can't believe I'm not going to make it to the finals. Redman's starting to get banged around a little bit, but he's got one of those big, wide-body, 4-door wagons, and he's kind of punching up there on Ron Hodges. Ron, the 10-time champion. Meanwhile, Chuck Roby, the number 18 car over there, is still doing a good job despite the fact that he's getting severely tagged in the front. There's 2 guys right there, Steve. There are 2 guys right there that could make it to the finals. The 18 car and, of course, the red man.
Roby about to run over his own bumpers. He's right hanging them right in front of the 18 car. Ooh, the motor is not doing well internally. When you see fire out of the pipes, that is not a Doug Rose fire show, folks. That is a burnt piston or a bad valve.
It's a bad something or a burn everything. And there's a real pile up there. 2 of the guys that look like they may survive are kind of slamming each other around. The front wheels there for Roby not even touching the ground. He was locked up on the red man.
And remember, there's a lot of damage to these cars you can't see. Broken motor mounts, broken transmission mounts, throttle linkage off the carburetors where they're pulling a chain that they got through the firewall to keep it going.
Lost cassette tapes, all those kind of things, but they've got to get them back if indeed they survive to come back later on. Little flames on the front of the race car, and the red man still keeping going. Car in the background there, the W4 car, and he's been out of the action since very early in the program.
Pumping that steam. Oh, man, how many times did you come off of a hill into a gas station with your car looking like that? Okay, well, they're starting to slow her down here. A lot of cars barely even mobile. So we'll take just a moment to take a quick break, and we'll come back for more demo action.
Demolition Man.
Great crowd on hand here at Dixie Speedway for the Demolition Derby live on TNN's Motor Madness, and there's not a lot of action going on down there. Bill Palmer, the 22 car, is still staying alive. Let's get down to Bobby.
The 22X of Brian Miller, one of the guys who is out there staying alive, and his wife, you get Miller, is down here watching him. He's been putting on some pretty good hits so far, huh?
Yeah, he's throwing.
What do you think of this Demolition Derby stuff?
Oh, I like it. Said I like it.
She likes it, guys. Tim?
Put a polygraph on that woman.
Hey, I'm down here with a Dixie Speedway regular. This is Lori Williford from Virginia.
Originally from Virginia, yeah. Live here now.
You want to say hi to your friends?
I want to say hi to my baby sister in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Yay, Vicky! Hi!
Well, you're a Ronnie Jones fan. Looks like Ronnie's kind of hurting on this race, but he'll be back in the Grudge match.
I'm rooting for him in the Grudge match, absolutely. This is a great night. Great night. Glad to have y'all here, too.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Back up, Steve.
Well, I think the captain of the 93 has abandoned ship, Bob Price.
Even in demo derby, Steve, when you're behind the wall, you are out of here. And that was the 93 car of Ronnie Jones. And he's got the match race later on. And in the middle, flames and all, Danny Seibner is still staying active. And Chuck Roby, the 18 car, and there's the 22 car that we're talking about. And bam, he just gets hit by flames and all. And how about that? There's a little stuffed animal on top, and he's kind of sitting there saying, let me out of here, let me out of here. I think it's a Tasmanian devil.
And there's nothing tougher than the Taz. Let's remember Ronnie Jones in that Grudge affair will be driving another car.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. From the Tim Wilson fleet, the complete factory livery.
Yeah, there he is. That's the Taz. And he goes, oh, can't beat me, can't touch this.
The Taz is going to have his own movie pretty soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, guys with moose antlers on in our Reno show last year, and here he's got the Tasmanian Devil, flames on the front. Of course, flames are my life. Chuck Roby in the 18 car, he is trying like the Dickens to try to hit somebody, and then he gets whacked. The station wagon came in and slammed him right from behind. Broadside deal, so probably not too much damage there for that one.
But let's remember he was born to demo.
Bill Taylor in the 888 car, one of the heavy equipment operators, and he has got one. It's not the wagon, but it's still a very big car. There are 3 teammates there, and he's got an animal somewhere getting a little stuff and beat out him on his car, too, there. Right there on the windshield, hooked on there, and I'm not sure that's a stuffed animal. Look,
it's a bull.
I'm sorry.
It's got to be a bull. That's got orange. If it's got orange, it's a bull.
Ooh.
I'll tell you, he's driving like a bull, too. I thought for a minute the clock was going to outlast the cars, but that is not the case.
Must be some warm and fuzzy guys down there between the Taz and the Bull and everybody just trying to be able to maintain enough momentum so they can score some points from the judges. Let's check in again with Tim Wilson.
Hey, I got some resident experts down here. These are the 3 most expert Demolition Derby people in Atlanta. This is Donnie, Tony, and David. Who are y'all pulling for in this race?
18. 18.
18? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
Yeah.
Would you bet money on it?
No.
You don't have anything but lunch money.
This betting is for amusement only. Don't try this at home. If you do try this at home, make sure you use somebody else's car. I'm surprised anybody's still managing to move out there. And a couple of cars trying to dodge the traffic out in the back there, Steve. While our boy, Chuck Roby, that's who they were just cheering for, going wacky. Now, that was a Tasmanian Devil move right there in the center of the track.
It was. That had Taz written all over it. Now, if he can just escape. Oh, and the 30 car inflicts yet another hit. That's David Scrivener. There's the fans for number 18.
Neat little T-shirt there, too. I'm not sure that was another fuzzy animal.
You know, this really is a family deal. In the pits, in the grandstands, everybody has a ton of fun. It's a pretty modest budget for the kind of purse. It's about $8,000 a purse.
And you know, these cars have to come back for the finals. You take a look at them. Remember, there is more to come. Oh, wow. What a big hit. That ends that heat.
Mercifully, the checkered flag falls. Okay, we will be back with more of the Dixie Crash Fest. They're not crashed out yet. Stay with us on Motor Madness.
Hit you with a gas floor, hit you against the dashboard, there goes your bumper. Better get the wrecker warned. You feel like an Iraqi in the desert storm.
Use tomorrow's technology right here, Steve, as they're trying to clear the track from the remnants of heat number 2. We're going to take a look down in Victory Lane. We're going to meet our winners here in just a little bit. I guess the correct term, Steve, would be survivors.
I think so. We're going to go down to Bobby Gerald, and I want you to check out this really cool jacket. Look at this. Why don't we have one of those, producer man? Go, well, Bobby.
I tell you what, Steve, I'm kind of liking this jacket, too. Now, I hope you've all got a good look at the back. Turn around, take a good look at the front here. And this is what I'm wondering, Steve, and I want to kind of run this by you since you've been on TNN for so long and you kind of know how the producer things work. I'm checking out the way it fits me. fits pretty nice in the sleeves. I like the collar. It's about perfect for me. So what I'm wondering is, I mean, do you think I have a chance of keeping this thing tonight and not giving it to the winner of tonight's thing? Do they usually maybe bring 2 of these, Steve?
Bobby, my wisdom is, at this point in your career, if they allow you to keep the jacket, give it to either the producer or the director for their kids. That's really the smart way to do it.
I have noted that, and that's exactly what I'm going to do tonight. Although, you know, I may have to try to make a side deal with whoever wins this thing, Steve.
And also including Duralube in our winners' awards, B&M Automotive gift certificates to the champion, second, third place, Crane Cams gift certificates, the great Florida Camshaft Company. All in all, a whole lot of prizes for a lot of deserving demo devils.
Steve, have you seen the size of some of these guys driving these race cars? And you're going to try to keep the jacket from them? My advice to Bobby, give it up willingly.
Pay them to take it.
Man.
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about the speeds being higher, the impacts being harder. Well, they were in this heat, and the winner is, ta-da, may I have a drum roll, please?
Ron Hodges in that 199 car. He was the guy that was the 10-time champ coming in. Let's go down to Bobby.
Hey, Ron Hodges is the winner. Ron, take a look at this jacket that I have on right here. Now, if you win tonight, I don't know if it's going to fit you, but this jacket is going to go to whoever wins this deal tonight. Congratulations on your heat race win.
Very much. That was a heck of a race out there. A lot of iron flying, a lot of bending metal.
Tell me about this this track, because we saw some really big-time hits out there. You guys can gather up a ton of speed.
It's real long. It's longer than the average track that you usually race at, and there's no grease at all or nothing out here, and you can just, the cars bite pretty good, and you can get some good traction out here.
Yes, they can. Tim Wilson, what's going on?
Hey, I got Brian Miller, number 22X. This is our runner-up in this heat. Take a look at that front tire, would you? Holy smoke. Brian, you going to be able to get this mess back together enough to race?
Yeah, we can get it back together. There's a couple boys back here that's got a fresh nose. We're going to see if we can buy it off of them, put a new nose on it, and come back out.
Man, you boys would have got an A in physics.
There's some serious damage to that machine. I think he's very optimistic that he can get that repaired, but they've got a fair amount of time there as you look at the results of heat number 2.
Hodges, Miller, Taylor, Shiver, and Wilson. And they'll come back and live again. Right now, let's go back and join things back in Charlotte at the studio, see how that slam dunk's coming along.
I'm in the editorial room of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the 2 largest newspapers in the South. Believe it or not, 14 years ago, I applied for a job here and was turned down. They said, son, obituaries should not be funny. Anyway, my name's in the paper today. I'm told way in the back in the F section, page 2, says Peach Buzz, Demolition Derby comes to town, comedian Tim Wilson from Roswell. Wilson, culturally impaired. Boy, it's great to be home.
Where they treat you with the respect you deserve. I want my thing to be funny, right? My obit. You know, Bonnie Patterson may be the only woman competing here tonight, but don't worry about her. She can take care of herself in tough situations. She's handled them every day these past 14 years as a police officer for the Ackworth, Georgia Police Department.
207 to 54A at 4400 Ackworth Industrial Drive. Only description of
Officer Bobby Patterson is a no-nonsense policewoman who really enjoys the challenges of her profession.
207 clear responding from Cowan and Baker Roads. Here to help the people, do what I can for them. Sometimes they don't like what I have to do, but I have to do it anyway. It's my job. Some of the things I have to do are unpleasant. Some that's unpleasant for me, some that's unpleasant for the citizen, but we have to look out for the whole of the community, not just for one individual person.
Baker, 1630.
Officer Patterson believes in crime prevention, so she works hard to develop relationships with everyone in the community, especially the kids.
You're driving a car, you need to safely.
Unfortunately, not everyone in the community is as easy to deal with as the children.
You felt y'all to come to a complete stop at the stop sign at 1st and Main.
There's not a car within a mile of the place, you know?
Is this your current address, sir?
Yeah, that's my current address. You know, I pay taxes, it pays you, and I've got to work, I make money.
No matter how difficult the situation, Bobby Patterson is dedicated to serving and upholding the law. But after a hard day on the beach, he needs to vent her frustrations. And what better way than with a little demo derby action?
With your family, okay?
Oh, yes. You would not believe the frustration that I have sometimes. I'm out here trying to help these people, trying to protect them, trying to protect their families, trying to protect homes and property. And they don't want me to protect them unless it's what they want, the law according to them. So I can't wait to get in that demolition car. I'm going to let them have it. I'm going to vent all those frustrations that I have. I just can't wait. It's going to be so exciting.
Well, unfortunately, she's not going to be able to vent those frustrations tonight. And Bobby Patterson, it's very disappointing for her. She was involved in an auto accident. A drunk driver hit her, and that's keeping you out of the Derby tonight. How disappointed are you?
I'm very, very disappointed. I hope to get some sponsorship money from my regular car by being out here. But the doctor won't clear me to race, so my daughter has agreed to fill in. She's a third-generation driver. My father was a driver. I'm a driver, and now this is her first demolition derby, first time in a race car of any type. I'm real excited, but nervous.
Carlotta Kaiser is going to do it. And Carlotta, you just had a birthday the other day. Are you nervous about this? First time ever in a demo derby?
Yeah, I've never done this before, so it's pretty scary.
Boy, she looks like she's about ready to either cry or have a lot of fun. I'm not sure, guys. Tim?
Hey, if the cops are out here, this is probably the guy they'll be looking for later. Chuck Rush, Junkyard Dog. We saw you in Orlando. This is the same car you drove in Orlando with the speeds going out here on this 300-foot track. I don't know if it's going to make it through this one.
I tell you what, they're really hitting pretty hard out there. I doubt if this thing's going to make it, but we're here to have fun, put on a good show. We got a lot of people back in town. You know, I'd like to thank the people helping me get here. Swan Truck Sales, Blue and Gray Trailer Manufacturing, Ron's Tires, and M&M Auto Salvage, and especially my girlfriend, Carmen. Carmen, watch the in-car cam, baby. I got something, a surprise for you in here.
Hey, this is one of the great men of Demolition Derby right here, folks. Back up to y'all, Steve.
Well, this sport is all about fun. I'm glad to see everybody having some. Love the bandana there, Chuck, and I wonder if the drunk driver might have been the guy in the weird black and yellow tie.
What a matchup as we line them up. There's John Barris in the 757 car with his crew chief, Chubby Mays. Number 400, that's Mark Hibbert. He's got a 76 Chevrolet 488 with a Chrysler car, Clint Lovely. Number 53, that's Williamson, and he is a record driver by profession. How apropos, Eddie Woodward's in the 10 car. 489 is Travis Lovely. He'll be driving a Malibu wagon. It's kind of a lightweight here. Darryl Monroe in the 18.5. 809 is Mark DeWayne. He's part of a team that's here today. He's all the way down from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the 208 car, driving that's Brian Scholernen. 49 car, we've had good luck with them in the past. That's Randy Hood, and Mike Shelton will be wheeling a 48 car. He is in his 6th year of demo derbies. Tim Jumper in the 121 car, and with the M1 right at the top of the pack from Dade City, Florida, Ed Riblett. 15 is Chris. I hope to be in the cash here tonight. 00 from right down the road in Riverdale, Georgia. Here's the guy, Buddy Drewer.
You know, I should point out that Dixie Speedway runs a regular demolition derby program, at least once, sometimes twice a month during the season. So that's one of the reasons we have this tremendous turnout. Another reason is a lot of people just got interested in watching TNN from Orlando and earlier last year. And boy, they're starting out with a bang. How about the move by is that the 9 car?
The dog and the Big J right there, the dog with our onboard camera. He's one of the guys that said he had a lot of problem at home, could not find a station wagon for this race here tonight, and he thinks that's going to be a big problem. Darryl Monroe in the 18.5 car, one of the few two-doors, trying to advance into that championship. Oh, the dog's just getting the tar beat out of him down there.
Yeah, but the 18 car used the front end, and that's not all of that wise, Darryl Monroe.
There's Carlotta in her first race ever, just turned 17. That's a big wide body to Cadillac, and she may be in a bit over ahead. We can see from here, yeah, she's smiling. Go with me on this, she's smiling.
You saw that in the rearview mirror.
Yeah,
so did I. The dog is not having a great outing here, unless this is just kind of posturing on his part. You know, he spun out of there, a lot of flamboyance, and now the dog is kind of toothless.
I'm not sure if we're going to get a shot of that onboard camera that he'd like us to see a little bit later on, but the dog has big problems. He's locked up, and I think they might be red flagging Carlotta right down there, so I think they're going to stop things and get her out of the race car. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
Well, that's exactly what's happened. The red flag has come out, and Carlotta grabbed her leg after she took one of those initial shots. Bobby Patterson, Carlotta's mom, is standing right here by me. You rushed in there, and I saw you stick your head in the cockpit. Did you get a chance to speak with her at all? Is she all right?
No, she just says she's real uncomfortable. I don't know what all's wrong with it. I had to back up. I'm a police EMT. I'm used to getting right in there, but it's not my job here tonight. I'm just worried about my baby.
Is this difficult for you to have to stand back?
Oh, yes, very difficult. I want to check on my baby. I'm an EMT. I'm a police officer and a firefighter, so I know what to do in there. So I'm kind of nervous.
Well, she is in very good hands. They're all taking a look right now and trying to make sure that she's going to be all right. And we'll stand by here with you, and hopefully everything's going to be okay.
Thank you very much.
Even with her years of experience as a police officer and an EMT, when it's your own child in the incident, it's just a whole nother ball game. We'll be back and let you know how Carlotta is feeling right after these words. There's a lot more Demo Derby to come. We'll have more Demo Derby action in just a moment, but first, let me tell you about some of our upcoming demo events. Well, you may want to bring your tux with you to Wichita, Kansas on May 9th, 1997 at the famous 81 Speedway. You can call the number on your screen for rules and entry, 316-755-1718. The Midwest Classical Crash. Love the name. Then, on August the 8th, from the Erie County Fairgrounds in Hamburg, New York, that's Western New York, the Great Lakes Car Wars. May the force be with you, because this event is for cars under 2,600 pounds. Also, the event is open only to residents of the Great Lakes State, so don't start packing yet for that one. You can call 716-648-5100 for information. And also a special treat for pulling power fans. On June 27th from Tomah, Wisconsin, oh boy, it's a time warp for me, the NTPA Dairyland Super Pull. Super Pull because every NTPA pulling class will be running that weekend. And we'll feature the unbelievable unlimited tractors and the crowd-pleasing big rigs. What's the scene down on the racetrack, Bob Fry?
Well, there's lots of cars just sitting around just waiting for this thing to continue. Let's go down for an update. Let's go to Tim Wilson.
Hey, I'm here with the Cherokee Warriors. Let's hear it for the Cherokee Warriors. Jack Goodwin's brought this group in here. Jack, I hope you're not the driver's ed teacher at Cherokee.
No, I'm not.
What do you do over there?
I'm head of the touchdown club over at Cherokee.
Well, talk to me here, Jack. This is national television.
That's right. Well, we're here tonight. We're having a good time.
Well, good. Let's hope these kids right here have not had bad influences on them tonight with all these cars wrecking. This ought to be the safest group of drivers in the world. And thanks for the help here, Jack. Back to y'all.
I tell you what, Tim is used to doing stand-up comedy with the audience. You don't have to interview anybody. You did stand-up, Bob.
He's also used to working alone. Normally
That's
when
right.
guys are talking back to him, he's not happy. Tim, you got to make up your mind here. You want him to talk, you don't want him to talk.
And never ask a question that can be answered with one word, because they will.
We'll take a look at this again as they are attending to Carlotta. And we're going to take a look at a couple of replays here, Steve, as the Demo Derby Heat number 3 got underway.
Well, here was Carlotta in that 2 car, and she did take a nasty shot. My, oh, my, from Mike Smith. And it wasn't one of those long straightaway head-ons, but he just got her penned against the wall there.
She just kind of sitting there helpless, tried to brace herself. You could see she was going to take that hit, and then kind of backs up, and we'll take a look at that again one more time, and she just gets ready to brace herself when she gets slammed from the side, Steve.
Watch, the car moves completely out from under her. It almost looks like one of those, crash tests. Bobby Gerald?
Well, we continue to chart the progress here of Carlotta. The safety crew is still working with her. Bobby Patterson is her mother. She's standing right alongside me now. And as someone who's familiar with this type of thing, tell us what's going on right now down in there in the car.
Had a very secure 4-inch safety belt on her, a racing safety belt on her. And after she was already out and took that lick in the door over there, it jerked, and the safety belt's what's caused her some pain down in her side, upper hip area. So we're going to get her checked out and make sure she's okay, and I'll check back in with you and let you know how she's doing. She seems to be doing better now that she's calmed down some.
Okay, they have brought in a backboard, which I know in any sort of an accident is the first precautionary measure that they're going to take, and so they continue to work with Carlotta down here, guys.
Anytime any driver in any kind of motorsports complains of any kind of neck pain, you put the collar on, you get the backboard. That is the accepted procedure, and they're doing everything by the book down there. We'll be right back. We don't do everything by the book. In fact, very little.
Well, they're taking Carlotta out to be checked over. Our preliminary report, she suffered a couple of broken ribs out there, but she was conscious, talking to everybody, including Mom, who's with her there as they take her out. We wish her the best, Steve.
And also a possible broken leg. We hope not. But heat number 3 has been restarted here at Dixie Speedway. And with that delay, it could be an abbreviated heat. I think all the drivers know that, and they're going to get right with the program.
The double O car, very popular driver right here. He's from Riverdale, which is right down the road a little bit. And the in-car in our junkyard dog, the JYD and everything, and he's looking out the back right there, and right now he's got to be looking out for his back, Steve. The car took a lot of banging, as you can see right there in the early going. An excellent driver, races almost everything for a living.
He does indeed, and he came out rather bare-knuckled. I think now he's got the 12-ounce gloves on.
Let's check in now with Tim. Who you got, Timmy?
Hey, they told me to find somebody who could talk, and nobody does it better than this man right here. Nobody I know of represents the good things about Georgia better than Rhubarb Jones. How are you doing, sir?
Tim, I'm doing great. I'm having a wonderful time here at Dixie Speedway, and I want to say good evening to the First Lady of the Nashville Network, Katie Haas. I love you, darling. I really do.
Hey, this is the great man in Atlanta radio right here. But Rhubarb, you do a lot of work fighting leukemia. Tell us about that.
Well, Tim, we do something called a March Across Georgia for the Leukemia Society. We do that every June, and we go to various communities in the northern half of Georgia, and we collect pennies. And over the years, we've collected almost $1 million in pennies from everybody, and everybody can contribute something to the Leukemia Society, if it's a handful of pennies or checks or whatever. But we do that, and then we do our 5th annual Rhubarb Jones Celebrity Golf Tournament to benefit the Leukemia Society. Is coming up on the 12th of May. We're going to have it at the Dunwoody Country Club in Atlanta, and we've got a number of stars, celebrities like Brian White are going to be in for it. Y'all call 770-859-0899. Get you signed up. Come on to Atlanta and help us out.
Man, go get your car and get down here in this mess.
I'd love it. It just remind me of I-285 every day.
Steve Evans.
Okay, it reminded me of I-285 yesterday.
That was Rhubarb, and earlier you saw Tim with that dog. That was Rhubarb's dog. His name's Bill, by the way. It's a very strange family, their names.
We got some strange action going on here, too. I mean, there's been some brutal hits. There's another one from the 18.5 car, Darrell Monroe, purple car.
And the dog is still alive.
I don't think the dog's been scoring big points, though.
But he's still running, 757. I love that. His crew chief named Chubby Mays. Wonder if he knows Rhubarb. They're really jamming up in the middle now, Steve. The Riverdale, Georgia driver right there with the double O car. He's starting to take a couple of hits. And the Dade City, Florida car was the M1 machine. They're starting to bang pretty. Oh, look at that. Wow.
Even though it's probably just steam, if that hot liquid gets on you, it's going to hurt. Oh, and then he takes a shot from the 400 car when he was worried about a steam bath. That was Mark Hibbert in 400.
And that was Alan Shelby in trouble. Let's go to Bob Gerald.
Well, one of the guys still going out there is number 10. That's Ed Woodward. Now, Ed is from Indiana. That's his father, Jack, who has come here with 14 people from Indiana. 6 of them are in the pit. And a good friend of his, Jimmy Baker's down here checking out all the action. Jimmy, what do you think of the job Ed's doing so far?
I think he's doing pretty good as long as he keeps moving. It'll be all right.
All 14 of you come in the same car?
No, we took 2 trucks and a Jimmy.
There you go. 2 trucks and a Jimmy. We'll get you to Georgia for the demo derby, guys.
What's Bob looking to take over Tim Wilson's job?
And let me tell you, Bob, there's not a lot of new coaches in this infield. Keep him moving, Dan. Don't you listen to him, man. He's a devil, not a man. Just keep those wheels on those tires. Air or no?
Did they all come in one car? Woodward's in the 10 car. 400 is Hibbert, and he's all over the place. That's a 76 car, and he told me that it was a little bit lighter than he thought. He would like to have some of these cars starting at over 4,000. What a great
momentum. Oh, man.
Wow. Looked like the teenagers down in Bruley, Louisiana, where I was a couple of weeks ago, getting their licenses and said they wanted to go out demo derbying. Actually, a teenager getting a license like the same thing. What a great driving job. He really navigated, missed a lot of folks, and scored a big.
That was Mark Hibbert. Unbelievable. But, you know, what they say about paybacks, and there's plenty of them in demo derbying.
Everybody just kind of jockeying around in the middle. The dog was right there. You saw him. He was kind of hung up in the middle. Mike Williamson in the 53 car, the wrecker driver. He could imagine he could win this thing and then hook himself up and drive out of here.
Yeah, the dog's got a limping right rear hind quarter. 53 car still. There's the dog to your left of the yellow car with the dog on it. He's so big time he doesn't have a number. Dog, you're going to get a shot. No. Oh.
There's the onboard camera.
He's trying to get it started. He was working the hand throttle, trying to get that baby started.
And he's going to get nailed. Now, you cannot see right on the right-hand side with our onboard camera and the red lettering there, he's asking his girlfriend to marry him. That's what he talked about earlier when he said, hey, dear, I got a surprise for you. And she's saying, well, we're not going on our honeymoon in this baby, that's for sure, but that's what the sign says.
That's right. We're not all going in the same car.
Well, he might. I mean, you know, hey, it's the dog. Yo, Bobby Gerald, you're down there with a bunch of folks and looking for more than one car to get back to Indiana.
That is exactly what I'm doing. Now, to add a little bit more about the dog, I got to tell you, the dog was pretty ticked off before the race started tonight because the dog, the papier-mâché dog that is sitting right now, right behind the driver's seat, usually goes up on the roof. And he said that the folks here made him take it off the roof, and he just wasn't real happy about that. So he may have a little extra aggression out there on the speedway right now.
Somewhere out there, the future Mrs. Rush is saying, that's what the future's holding for me, huh? Now, there's a guy that used to go out and race demo motorcycles. Here's the guy we saw a few minutes ago that's doing a wonderful job out there. Steve, the front end of that car is in great shape. Hibbert has been making some big hits from the back and everything like this, and he is doing a great job.
And I tell you, talking about having his game face on. Did you see that, guys? The expression on his face and his eyes?
It's one of the guys that Bob's going to try to keep the jacket away from at the end of the day, huh? Lots of luck, Gerald. Watch it, watch it. Oh, just got out of the way.
I'll tell you, I'm not one of the official judges, but if I had any influence, I'd think pretty highly of that 400 car of Mark Hibbert if he scored early. That's going to be the thing. Boy, avoided a hit there.
Williamson's doing a good job with the 53. The dog looks like he got that thing fired up again. Never say die. He's going to go back down. Oh,
see him pumping the throttle, trying to keep it running?
You know what he's doing? He's looking right down there. He's looking for the diamond ring for the engagement. That's what he's looking for, I'm pretty sure.
I think he's looking for the throttle. I think he may be out of gas. Could have broken a fuel line under the hood. You never know.
He is still moving. It's amazing the damage that he's taken. He's going to go down to a little late model racing tomorrow night, do a little smooching, have a party, but he would like to survive to the finals. You don't see a whole lot of demo derbies where the crowds come out and watch and don't see the dog make it to the finals.
If this looks like good, clean family fun, it is. Bring your kids out. Join us at one of our later demo derby events in '97. The 10 car has been a quiet cannon up there. Ed Woodward has been scoring points. You can tell by the look of the rear end of the car, but very little front end damage.
That thing has been exactly the way they want it to do, Steve. They notch those things so when you hit, it bends up instead of down. That's the sign of a guy that really has run a lot of these derbies.
And I wouldn't say there's any cheating that goes on here, but these guys make Junior Johnson and some of the other guys look like rookies. The checkered flag is out for heat number 3. The judges go to work with padded pencil to try to come up with 8 or 9 or however many they're going to transfer here.
Did you say padded cell? Oh, pad and pencil you said they're going out with. I was wondering about this. We'll be back and find out who the survivors are and who will stay to race in the finals right here at the Dixie Crash Fest live on TNN's Motor Madness.
Hit you with a gas floor against the dashboard. There goes your bumper. Better get the wrecker warned.
We are back at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dixie Crash Fest. I'm Steve Evans with Bob Fry in the booth. We just have one more heat remaining before we'll go to the main event. A lot of other activities. You see all the glorious pictures coming into your living room. Well, we want to thank the Musco Lighting people for making a lot of that possible. They have 2 of their giant mobile trucks that go up about 100 feet in the air. The same people that lit Charlotte Motor Speedway. And that's about all you need to know about Musco.
And I thought that was Hail Bob. Ha! Go figure.
Yeah, I didn't get it. Okay, the wreckers are clearing the wreckage. As well they should. From heat number 3, and there was plenty of it.
These guys come out here and volunteer, you know, and they get an opportunity to come out here and strut their stuff. The records is like, I towed more cars the way than you did. Look at this. That's 2 for 1. I think it's a bargain price out there. You know, I was in New York City yesterday, Steve, and I took a New York City taxi cab ride, and I think that that's about the only thing out there that may be more life-threatening than doing this stuff. I mean, it's amazing. Look at that. That looked like the cab that I was in. We're still trying to figure out who our winners were here. Let's go down to Bob Gerald.
Well, no results yet, and Chuck Rush, the Junkyard Dog's hoping he made it in there. What do you think? Do you think he scored well enough?
I hope so. I tell you what, it seems like I was in there as long as anybody. We were putting on some shots. I had a fuel filter plugging up so the car kept shutting off, but I kept getting it refired, and I kept hitting them as hard as I can, and I don't see why I didn't.
Tell me about on the dash there. A little message to the girlfriend back home?
Yeah, Carmen, you're probably the best thing that's happened to me in a long time, sweetheart, and I was wondering if you'd marry me.
There you go. I wish we had the camera there back in, it's Deltona, right?
In Deltona, yeah. Carmen's back home watching on TV.
Maybe we'll try to do something with the phones here and get an answer for you before we go off the air.
There you go. Carmen's a big reason we're here tonight.
All right, Chuck Rush, the Junkyard Dog, hoping for the best, hoping he's going to be in the feature, and hoping he's going to get married, guys.
And Carmen, you're not marrying a crash dummy. It just looks like it.
Oh, my. Tim?
Hey, I got my favorite Hoosier down here in Georgia from Connorsville, Indiana, number 10, Ed Woodward. Ed, how you feel like you did in that heat?
I felt I did fairly well.
Banging around out there?
Yeah, a lot of competition. A lot of boys that we normally bump heads with up home was down here.
I see you got your Bob and Tom tag on your car right here. You pull back. Bob and Tom. Hey, I'm big fans, too.
Yeah.
You going to be ready for this next one?
I hope so.
Well, get that helmet on. I thought you was out here driving without a helmet. See, that's Hoosiers for you. You never can tell with them. Back up to Steve and Bob.
Hey, Ed, keep talking. Tim will yell at you. Trying to help him out.
Yeah, it gets crabby when they don't talk, huh?
Man. Ooh, that would make you crabby. And yet, that is actually a good sign. There's that thing bent up from the back. Let's go back and join Bob Gerald.
Well, a meeting going on between Dutch Holland, who is the Demolition Determinator. You know him well if you watched our coverage here on Motor Madness, and some of the other Dixie Speedway officials. I think that right now they're just coming up with a winner for our past heat race. Dutch Holland, who is involved in this conversation. Excuse me, we're on live TV. Hey, Dutch, who won that last one?
757.
The 757. So that's who we're going to run off and talk to here in just a second. And I believe the results are getting passed along right now over to the truck. Thank you, Dutch. Guys?
And you might have noticed the crowd knows that judging is going on, and they get very vocal in the background, chanting numbers they'd like to see go to the main. But here's the numbers that will, Bob.
John Purvis was the 757 car, and he advanced, and we like that. Mark Hibbert, the 400 car, he did very well, and he advanced. Now, we'll get 5 guys who will move on into the main, but those are the 2 top guys, and a pretty good job. John Purvis and his crew chief, Chubby Mays, and the 400 car, Mark Hibbert. Let's join him with Tim Wilson.
I'm with Mark Hibbert. Where are you from, Mark?
Camden, Ohio.
Number 400, got the big red machine here. Pull this camera back over here and take a look at that wheel. Look at that mess right there. How would you like to get that fixed in about 15 minutes? Mark, you got a project here. You going to be able to get back for the final?
Oh, yeah.
You bring your welding tools?
No, I don't need them. I'll get her back together.
Hey, I'm going for this haircut right here.
You like that?
Yeah. Back up to Steve.
That's the executive haircut. Easy care. And here's one of those great shots 400 put on that made him certainly the booth choice. You know what's interesting? A little while ago during commercial, I stuck my head out of the booth, and all you hear are hammers. Just bang, bang, bang. In a little bit, we're going to have that grudge match between 2 of the cars that we're pretty heavily involved with. So let's get a little more information on that. It'll be coming up in just a very few minutes. Remember the Bluegrass Standard? She'll be coming around the mountain. Well, in this part of Georgia, it might just be Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park. A must-stop for all Civil War buffs. And on the front straightaway, we have an automotive civil war between Alton James and Rojo Jones. Earlier, we had a chance to talk to Alton about why this had to happen, why these 2 drivers had to resolve a conflict.
We started out, and it was me and my brother and Ronnie and some of the other boys out there running. And it came down to me and my brother and Ronnie. Me and my brother, we were sort of, teaming up on Ronnie because, I had 2 cars out there, and I didn't want to hit one of my own cars. But we was out there beating and banging, and I kind of messed up in a way. Ronnie's car stalled on him, and I thought, Ronnie was done for. And so my brother was still going, so I took my own brother out and done away with him. And a few minutes, just a second or 2 later, Ronnie got his started back up, and I said, oh, no, I got to go after him again. And I started hitting on him, and he'd move, and I'd hit him, and he'd hit me. And next thing you know, I hit him one time, and I was up in his engine compartment, and I couldn't get loose. He was still running, I was still running. And we sat there, and finally they just they just let us both have, a trophy and split first and second place money because, I mean, they couldn't get us apart, and that's just the way it ended up.
Well, they'll have a 5-minute match race, and may the best man win.
Lined up nose to nose, and we're going to fire up these two here. This is going to be very interesting, Steve. There aren't a whole lot of two-car match races. They hit head on there. Nobody was moving.
It's almost a mechanized bullfight, and if they happen to go to opposite ends of the arena and come at each other, we've got a chicken contest.
A couple of little tags here. There is not going to be any help from anybody else.
A square dance. Alleman left. And a do-see-do.
Oh, little whack in the back there.
A whack in the back. That's 93 is Rojo Jones. That's Ames, the 2.5.
On the inboard camera there, that's the crash cam, and our onboard camera's on there with Alton Ames. So far, the guys have not been able to actually get far enough away. Here we go. This could be it. A little whack there. Loves the demo derbies, and he could be selling his own T-shirts down at the booth there before the night's over. The Ames 2.5 car now trying to get a big head of steam.
I tell you, they're hard to hit when they're a moving target.
That was his other car in the background. Remember, these guys ran earlier. These were two cars that were made special for this. What do you call that?
A love tap.
You don't usually see love taps here in the derbies. If he could get it pinned against the wall and get a little running start at him.
Yep.
Need to get some motion here. Bob Gerald down there. This is probably, oh, here we go. A good chance for a big running start at him, Bob.
Yeah, but see what he did right there, the 93 car of Ronnie Jones. He puts the driver's side door right in front of him. Anytime a guy's got a running start at you, the smartest thing to do, even though it sounds stupid, is put your driver's side door in front of him, because technically you can't get bashed in that driver's side door. So a nice move that time defensively by Ronnie Jones.
We saw a nice move there. He was out in front and hit the brakes, Steve, which means the guy coming at him had to jam on and maybe get some damage to the front end.
Rojo just got one of the better shots at the right rear corner of Ames's car. Ames going to come around and try to even that score, because right now I think my scoring sheet, I have Rojo in front here, the 93 car.
The 93 car is ready to get beat up. Yep, and he is hitting against the wall. If you can take, well, he took out the bumper. Actually, that was the back bumper on the other car. If you can take out the wheels, get him wounded out there. If he's got no pins,
oh, baby,
he ain't
oh,
going
baby,
anywhere.
oh, baby, oh, baby. Had potential.
We got the bumper just lying out there right now, and that is the least of their problems. Makes him vulnerable there in the back. The 93 car, Rojo, can be vulnerable. Now, here looks he's like trying to line it up, Steve.
That was a James Bond breakaway bumper.
Oh, good hit right there. And he jams him into the wall. And right now, Alton Ames has got the advantage. We got some smoke on the water. I don't know if that's tire smoke or engine.
Look at him.
Kind of smiled. Looked a little bit like Don Garland.
Yes, he did. I thought the same thing. And he risked his own front end to try to take out Rojo's radiator, and it might have worked.
Could be Big Daddy of the demo derbies right here. Now you just want to stay away from him. And there again, you saw Ames hit the brakes, and that meant that Rojo had to come and slam him from the front. I believe Rojo's getting the worst of this, Steve.
And the clock continues to run.
Of course, I also thought Bob Dole was going to win the election, so don't go by me, folks.
I was Oliver Tyson.
Now, here he goes, trying to get away from him, and Rojo wants no part of him.
Is this a no moss?
Now,
this is not Durand.
This could be trouble as he gets lined up against the wall. You don't want to get there. You get slammed by both positions. Bob, oh, there's the best hit of the day, Bobby.
Oh, no question. That was a bruiser right there, and all of a sudden, I heard both of the cars actually stopped on that hit, the 93 and the 2.5. What I was surprised about, though, guys, and now they're locked up again. Oh, no, what if we got another standoff?
This is how this good started to begin with.
One of the things I was surprised about was that they both ran over the whip. They both ran over the bumper that's laying out there with no concern for their tires whatsoever. What's that about?
Now let's watch this, Steve. They're pretty spread far apart. There's a lot of ground between them. Oh, man, great hit there as Ames just drove him right into the wall, and that could be all she wrote for the 93 car. Yep, could be all she wrote as the guys are coming over the wall, and somebody might be done for.
He might have taken out that right front wheel. It looks like it's been in pretty badly. I'll tell you what, that was pretty good stuff.
Lost the helmet there, and they came out. The drivers, the fellas, the Demolition Determinator wanted to make sure that Rojo had the helmet on.
Stalled.
You know, it's a pretty good hit when you can knock the guy's helmet off.
Take a look at this again from a couple of different angles as the 2.5 car of Alton Ames is really stalled. Now, here you go. This is one of the best hits from earlier. Oh, wow, right in the back. then they lock up the bumpers, then it's you're just going to follow me, like it or not. From the in-car camera now, you're going to see the collision cam. Now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Brace yourself. Don't try this, that. Oh, wow. Big hit right there. Knocked him for a loop. Took the pins out, knocked the helmet off.
Now you know why they make him remove the gas tanks and put one inside strapped down to the floor with only about a gallon of fuel in it. Why? We'd have a horrible fire right now is why.
I knew that. I knew that.
Did you ever read Nader's book, Unsafe? Yeah, okay.
The fans out here are absolutely pulling for their favorites. The guys in the PA had them cheer like the old Ford Chevy stuff, Steve, and it was kind of a push. The 93 of Rojo Jones is still out there, and gee, I don't think he tried to miss that, Steve.
Officer, I swear there was a bumper on the freeway. I swear that's what I hit. They're hitting both of their own bumpers. The bumpers are like pylons. Oh, look at this. Rojo tipped up. That right front wheel is all collapsed.
Bobby Gerald, what can you tell from your vantage point? Any of these guys sound like they're still hitting on all cylinders?
The 2.5 was down for a while, and I actually thought that was going to be the end of the old Grudge match, but 2.5 now seems to be going strong. And like you said, Bob, I mean, what's the deal with just driving over the bumpers? I don't understand that. They're laying in the road and they just drive right over them. It's like they want to get their tires flat.
Now here's an opportunity. If this guy can swing it around and hit him. Oh, a good hit in the front, Stephen. Look at the front wheel. Yep. If he gets that knocked out, the 93 car's not going anywhere. And look, the 2.5 car. Oh, and the checkered flag there. It's a time limit match and some great hits, Steve, for just 2 cars out there. 2 of the best here in Woodstock did a sensational job. And they're not done yet.
No. To neutral corners. This is like the old American dance, you know? Couple number 1, couple number 2.
Look at the smoke coming out, and they finally get them apart. Alt names right there, the 2.5 car, Rojo Jones and the 93 car. You're on board there in the collision cam, and we had a bundle of them right there. We'll come back and announce the winner here of the match race and have another heat live on TNN's Motor Madness.
Man driving and that ain't no lie. He's legally blind in his good eye. He can't see much, but he can smell the kill. So you better not get caught standing still.
Right now, go down to Bobby Gerald and find out who won the Grudge match. Ronnie Jones or Out Names, Bob?
It was the 2.5 of Alton Ames, and he had some significant damage to the car, but Alton, it looks like you guys had a pretty good time out there. That was fun to watch.
We had a ball. Really enjoyed it, yeah.
Now, you and Rojo are good buddies.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
What was it like to know that you had to go out there and the only other guy you could hit was your good friend?
I was kind of worried about it. I didn't want to hurt him or nothing, but I wanted to get the points I needed, so I just done the best I could without hurting nobody.
Well, there were a couple of big hits out there. We're going to go over and talk to Rojo, who ended up finishing second. Rojo's over on the other side sharing some war stories right now with some of the fellow competitors. Rojo, what'd you think about that? Alton ends up getting the win there, but you guys beat the heck out of each other.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Was it hard to hit your buddy like that?
No, not hard.
Not hard at all.
Time.
You knew a lot was at stake, huh?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I think both of you guys put on a pretty good show up there for the fans, and everybody enjoyed watching it.
That's what we were trying to do, is make a good show out of it.
You did just fine. Ronnie Rojo Jones finished the second, and Alton Ames wins the Grudge match. Tim?
Hey, I tell you what, you want to talk about sportsmanship, folks? This is it right here. Here's the car, number 22. Brian Miller's car is so torn up in the front. Right there. You ever see those old stories where mechanics go, oh, I can't get to it today? Well, these guys are getting to it today, okay? You have the front of this car totally torn off. Now, let me get my cameraman to back off here and look at this. That's the front end of the Budweiser car. Terry Hanley is donating the front of his car, and that is going to be placed over the top of this when this crew gets finished. If that's not sportsmanship, I don't know what it is. And if these guys can get this car together, Bill Clinton ought to make them part of the cabinet.
Oh, we know where they sleep.
We do indeed. You need a car like Christine out of the Stephen King novels that can repair itself. Right now, let's take a hasty beat to Charlotte for more from the set.
When you're in Marietta, Georgia, and you hear the words Big Chicken, sure you think Newt Gingrich. But in this town, the Big Chicken is ground zero. You can't get around this town unless you know how far from the chicken you are. Right now, I am located 75 feet south of the Big Chicken. All right, you're where now? Okay, you're 3 miles north of the Big Chicken. Take a left, come down 3 miles, take another left, and we'll be waiting on you. All right, we'll see you then. Let's hope a big wind don't come up and blow this chicken away. We'll all be lost.
For all of the conservatives writing letters, remember that's Wilson. Tim Wilson. Make sure you address the letters correctly. We got the 4th heat coming up. And, you know, driving the bright orange Montego is a man who knows his way around used cars. And he ought to, because that's how he makes his living.
The name of this business really says it all. Family Auto. And David Parsons is a man who treats all of his customers like, well, family.
How safe a car is this?
It's a good, safe car. It's got low mileage on it. I like to help people and get them in a good, dependable car that I would drive myself or have my family out on the road driving.
Customers are attracted to Family Auto for the good deals they can find. But recently, they have also been attracted by the bright orange Demolition Derby car parked out front.
Having the car out front has got us a lot of publicity and people stopping by and coming on the lot. But in other cases, it's hurt the business. You're looking at the Firebird.
Yeah, I'm looking for something with power.
It's got a V8, automatic, fully loaded, got plenty of power.
I was really interested in the old Montego out there. What do you want for it?
Montego's not for sale.
We're looking for something a little sporty and it's got a little speed to it.
We've got about 8 or 10 nice sports cars to choose from.
Son and I were wondering about that car up front.
It's not for sale.
I thought everything had a price on it.
Not that one.
Huh. Come on, son.
Try as he might, David just can't always please his customers.
Wouldn't please a lot of fans here wearing that Gators hat either. Man, he didn't know he's in Bulldog country. Let's take a look at the grid here as they're lined up, getting set for heat number 4. We got some great cars coming up. To tell you about one of them, Bobby Gerald.
All right. Call 911. No, it's number 116, Tim Heffley, who is an American Airlines mechanic who has come all the way from Oklahoma to be with us here today. And what I want to know is, what do your mechanic friends at American think about what you're doing tonight?
They think I'm crazy anyway.
Well, you just might be, but good luck, all right?
All righty, I want to thank my sponsors while I got a chance. Mike's Tires, Bushy Head Auto Supply, and Ad Pro Custom Tees.
He just did it. Tim?
Here's a local hero in a Chevy Impala, number 40, J.H. Ingram. J.H., you're originally from Woodstock. You moved up to Blue Ridge, Georgia?
Yes, sir. About 3 years ago. I've run pretty good many of these demos down here, but it's a little different, you know.
Different how?
Well, they score these, and we run to the last car runs.
So y'all just go to the last man standing. He's in Blue Ridge, Georgia. That's my stomping ground, Steve. Bob?
You pretty well stomped all over this country. You were in Vegas last week at the Tropicana Hotel with a fine comedy show. Let's take a look at this. Dave Parsons, Jerry Smith. They got J.H. Morgan. That's one of the tough cars to beat. We just talked to the mechanic.
Heffley in the 116. That's the American Airlines mechanic. Bill Ellison, Bill Eisen, his wife Cindy, his crew chief here this weekend. In the 269 car, that's Jimmy Hildebrand. And number 61 coming in, George Gerbers. He is in from Ohio. Robert Plesko in the 43, big Richard Petty fan. And number 89, that's Garrett Schultz driving a Plymouth Fury. 89, the year he graduated high school. Martin Smith in the 15. And number 73, Howard Miller. That's a Cadillac Fleetwood with a Chrysler engine, by the way. Dave Parsons in the 01. And BZ Brian Loveless. They call him Buzz. 21 is Tony McDowell. 350, Stephen McGrath. He'll be also anchoring this field here in heat number 4. Number 19 and 57 going to try to round out the field, Benny Farrow, and he's got one of those wide-body Impalas, the 7J car. Jerry Smith, 921, is Kevin Gaspin.
My personal favorite there is the 116, which upside down spells 911. That was pretty cool. I mean, the camera move wasn't bad out there either, guys.
I know, except now Jeffy's got all the red clay all over his head from standing on it, man. And they're underway with heat number 4. These guys, Steve, are going to have a very limited time to get back in for the finals. Puts them at a decided disadvantage.
And as they've been saying, they got to get used to that, because normally they run till the last dog is moving. Oh, man, there's some severe damage here already. Remember, these cars have not participated earlier. This is still a heat race.
Looks like the General, the 01 car. When you buy a used car from this man, that's what he does for a living. Family said they'd wrestle a bear on TNN. Well, have at it, gang.
I would buy a car from that man. Obviously, he's not cheating. The thing is falling apart. There can't be any Bondo in it. There's the in car, 09.
In the number 40 car there, and he is following in his dad's footsteps, who has been a long time. Oh, wow, did he take a hit? Another one, too, is our onboard camera guys really getting whacked around down there. Not good to stay still. They're yelling at him, move, move. Oh, what a jam up that is in the middle. The 19 car comes in. That's that 76 wagon Linzer. And with a big hit right there, 40 car. Camera guys have not fared well here tonight, Steve.
No, they have not. That was a triple-decker club sandwich, and he was the filling on all 3 decks.
Boy, that was almost a slam there from Jim Hildebrand as he came way across. They called them the arena shots as Hildebrand almost had a big-time slam. Bobby?
Jim Hildebrand at 269. He did almost have a big-time slam. Sam Snavely is the man who's a crew chief for the 269, and man, he's really building up some steam out there.
He's doing a great job.
What do you think, though? I mean, even if he built up that much speed and hit a guy, wouldn't it do more damage to his car than maybe to the car he hit?
I don't think so. I like the law of theory better. You know, more mass, more destruction going to cause.
More destruction, guys. That's what he wants.
Oh, look at that hit. Oh, he's got him upside down. Turned one over out there in the middle of the infield, and they're going to red flag him, Steve, as they just turn that puppy right upside down.
And it spells 10 instead of 911.
No.
Should have the 911 car as he climbs out, and there's another one of those guys that Bobby Gerald's going to keep the jacket away from later on. Lots of luck, Bobby. Oh, baby. What a hit that was. That's the biggest hit we saw, and it was one of those shots, Stephen, you talked about earlier. It's a big, wide track here, and they got a long start, and Parsons really took a whack.
And over on it. I wonder if he'll do a Dale Earnhardt. Get back in it and finish the Daytona 500 of Demo Derbies.
Well, maybe he should have sold that car. All those people wanted to buy it. You're going to say, oh, there it is. Look at the hit. He just drove him right back. Buzz did a great job, Brian Loveless. Bobby?
Well, Dave Parsons is out of the car. They do have a red flag, and Dave, they tipped it back over. Would it run if you got back in it?
No, she's gone.
A lot of people wanted to buy that one. Maybe you should have sold it.
I should have sold it. You're right.
Glad to see you're all right, Dave.
A lot of fun, man.
It looks like a lot of fun. I don't know about being tipped over, but I'm glad to see you're smiling, man.
Yeah, man, we'll be back again.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, if I weren't sitting up here, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than getting knocked on my roof. Sponsored by a headliner. Could be Tim Wilson's agent there, the headliner. The guy that hit him, Buzz, Brian Loveless, by the way, hoping to make enough money here tonight, Steve, to have a big birthday party tomorrow. He's got friends here. He turns 30 years old tomorrow, and Buzz just drilled his brains out.
I got to tell you, no one had more fun, though, even though he got upside down, than Dave Parsons. You see the grin on his face, framed by that red beard. He will indeed be back, and we're going back to the action. This is going to leave him up there.
I wanted to see that 73 car just to the left of your picture. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Here we go. All the way across, and bam, just terminating a couple of those cars. He went through, that's almost physically impossible, Steve. He drove right through those cars and missed them all.
I wonder if it's legal to grease them up like that. Richard Collier, 010. That was the daredevil doing that stunt.
He just went right between all of them. There's a good hit, whacked him in the front, hit him into the wall, and our onboard camera car is not doing well at all. Ingram, as the 269 car still jockeying around, Hildebrand's been doing a pretty good job. We haven't heard much from Benny Barrow, the 57 car. Look at the front end of that. I don't believe it's out of line, Steve. Looks good to me.
I think a little adjustment with the toe, and it'll be fine.
Jerry Smith, the 7J car. That's the blue one. Oh, man. Big hit right there. And these guys, look, he's trying to say, move away. Like, oh, yes, I'll be polite. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to hit you.
Looks like an argument over a parking place.
Looks like Brad Daugherty trying to drive in there on Patrick Ewing. Tim?
Hey, I'm down here with a couple of regulars right here. Gary Hood, his friend Ralph Hood. Ralph Hood. Go figure. Who are you looking for to win this heat?
I hope the number 43, Robert Flesko, wins. And I hope the 21 car, I don't know his name, but that's one I've been watching, and I hope he wins.
Man, what do you think about turning one over out there?
Oh, that was all right, as long as he's okay now.
If you're a regular here, you like stock car, you like Demolition Derby the best?
Demolition Derby all the way.
That's Plesko.
God bless him.
Oh, man. That's Plesko, the 43 car. Big Richard Petty fan. And he's not driving a Chrysler. He said, I couldn't find one that could race here in the Demolition Derby. 13 car there. That's a 73 car. That's the guy, Steve. That's a Cadillac with a Chrysler engine. We got another red flag, it looks like. Somebody's still moving out there, but I asked him why the Chrysler engine. He said, that's what I do for a living. I'm a mechanic on Chryslers. And, man, there's a... Oh, that part didn't belong in there, I guess.
I think it was the gear shift.
I don't think it was his.
That probably flew in. Oh, yeah, you're not limited as to what motor you can put with what body. I'll tell you, you better be a darn good welder if you want to be competitive in Demolition Derby. Oh, baby, the red flag is out. Whether the green will come out again, I don't know. This may be a wrap on heat number 4. Oh, looks like a war zone. Beirut.
George Gager's the 61 car took a huge hit, and there's Buzz right there as he's just trying to get out of position. Buzz is coming around, and we're going to have a checker flag in the winner. We'll come back and tell you who the winners were here on Motor Wackiness Madness.
He's all the wreck one car can stand.
Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by the Hyatt Regency Suites Atlanta. The Hyatt Regency Suites, Northwest Atlanta's premier full-service all-suites hotel. For reservations, call your travel planner or Hyatt toll-free at 800-233-1234.
Well, you think there's been some crunching going on tonight? The first time we've seen a car get tipped over, and here's the guy who did it, Brian Lovelace. How in the world did you do that?
It beats me, really, because that's the first time I've ever tipped anybody over. First, it scared me. When I turned around and looked and seen that he was over and on top, all I could think was more or less get out and make sure he was all right. But I know the track officials had it, so I thought it best to stay in the car. But it was a hard lick. I know what it was. I had a lot of momentum going, but it's a demo, and if I could find the man now, I'd apologize to him. I mean, there ain't no way I'm out here to hurt anybody. We're just out here to have a good time, and I enjoy the sport. I've done it for about 4 years. It's probably about my best run I've had so far.
Boy, I'd say. And I tell you what, the guy didn't get hurt at all, so don't feel bad about it. Be happy. That's what that's what this is all about, man. Nice job, guys.
In fact, in a perverse way, the guy you tipped over enjoyed it.
Yes, he did. I don't know if we can ever get a shot of Bobby Durrell down there with all this mayhem going on down there. You realize he doesn't have a hair out of place down there. It's incredible. It's almost physically impossible for Bobby to stay like that.
It's in the genes. You've watched his dad, Gary Gerald, do IndyCar, IRL. It's in the genes.
Oh, man.
They're born with concrete hair.
The 350 car was the winner there, and we've got some final action coming up from Woodstock. Bobby's hair never moves. Huh? It is in the family. Stick around, folks. More coming up live.
Well, Katie, our main event is on deck, but first here are the final results from heat number 4. Stephen McGrath, Brian Lovelace, Keith Linger, Tony McDowell, Benny Barrow transferred to the men. They did not have much time to get those cars ready, Bob Fry. And to answer your question, Katie, all of these cars go home with the owners. Nothing is lost. Everything is recycled, either back into another machine or down literally to the recycler.
There's the flamed car you can see, David Shivner. That was the 30 car, the 888 car. Billy Taylor has stayed alive. Got some great cars coming up here in this round, and you've got to feel for those guys in that last session, Steve, because they just do not have a lot of time to get them fixed. There you go, Tony Bowman, number 56, and Steve Pinson Jr., part of the Forest City Boys. He made it into this one. J. Ricky Kimmel, he has advanced along with the 5K car there. Rick managed to make it in from his heat earlier. 44 is Ronnie Knight, and 712, Tommy Wyatt, has advanced here into the championship heat.
725, Tim Lewis had a great run.
Taking a look at some of these other cars that are sitting down there, and we had the 350 car. That's right, we had Buzz stayed in there, Keith Lindinger, 21, Tony McDowell. There's the flame car. We mentioned the 30 car. That's David Shivner. We'll talk about the rest of these guys when we come back with our final, the main heat from Woodstock, live on TNN Motor Madness.
I was in town. I wanted to stop off and see my friend Earl. I co-signed a little place for him. I wanted to see if he was okay with the payments. Earl! You know, some people just get a little money and...
A little money? That is a historic Swan house. Only Ted and Jane Turner could afford to buy that, and I don't think they need you as a co-signer, Timmy.
We got the final coming up. Now, we're not going to see the jet car and do that car burn. You saw when he made that little circle around the track earlier, and then we got the static shot of him sitting there. He was leaking some fluid out underneath. Had a fuel line problem, was not able to repair it in time and everything, so we're not going to see the final car burn. We are going to see the finals here of the Dixie Demo Derby.
Here we go, the final rumble of the evening. A lot of hurt machinery out there, a lot of bruised and beat-up drivers, but right now they're feeling no pain.
This will be to crown the champion here, and the survivors from the heats earlier in the day have had a great opportunity to come back. That's a 22 car that we fell in love with early because of the great job that he did, Brian Miller, and the 888 car right down there as we start to see some guys really build up ahead of steam. To coin a phrase here, Steve, I guess you don't want to build up ahead of steam.
Oh, but plenty have tonight, and that could still be the secret. 22X Brian Miller. Some of these machines may be a little more substantial than we think. You know, they can, appearance can be deceiving.
There's the bad boy. We go a couple of the guys advanced with the names. The bad boy was the guy that tipped over. Big hit from the 45 car, Larry Stats. Larry had a great run earlier. He did not suffer a lot of damage. Didn't have a lot of work to do, but he's staying alive right there. That's one of the Hoosiers out of Indiana.
And they've all been told, this is not going to be a marathon, boys. You better go out there and get some metal, rip off some bumpers, spin them around, that boy, because you haven't got a lot of time to impress the judges.
The family Penson came out here today trying to pick off all the others here. The bad boy's doing a great job. Look at this good shot. Oh, man. He nailed him right in the side there. The 45 car comes in for a little nudge afterwards.
And at this point in the Derby, they're starting to use the front end a little bit more. Just like that, because there's nothing to follow this.
Or you want to use both ends, as he did right there and tried to spin him around. The 93 car's got a little trouble. He got hung up. Herb Tabor's right there in the middle, and he's getting slammed from all over the place. Spinning the wheels there, Steve, on that real soft, wet clay. He might have gotten himself hung up on the guard wall.
Absolutely, hung up on the wall.
John Purvis here, 757 car. Look, you can see a lot of spinning, and another guy just gets drilled right into the wall. There's nothing he can do this one time, Steve. He hopes that somebody will hit him, and that might have been a big help right there.
It did. It's just like floating a boat up a sandbar with another boat. We've been there, huh, haven't we, Truck?
The 44 car is doing a great job of staying alive. They've kind of divvied themselves up into two different packs here, Steve. One on the right side of the track and one on the other. And I'll tell you, the bad boy is doing a spectacular job. Look at this.
And he looks spectacular doing it. You know, half of this is flash and most of it's bash.
He just dove away at the last minute there to keep that thing lit. David Scheibner in the flame car in there. He's doing a little bit of the hitting, and he's also being the hittee. 350. That's Steve Marcath, who was also in one of the earlier heats and managed to escape pretty much unscathed.
Well, he is taking his own camouflage with him now. He comes at you in this giant cloud of steam. Bobby Jarrell?
One of the interested observers that we found down here in the pits is Vic Whaley Jr. He won at Orlando, and you're going to be competing in the Intergalactic Crunch-Off at the end of the year with the winner of this one. So who do you think out here that you've been having your eye on, Vic?
I have no idea. There's a lot of tough cars out there, a lot of good Chevy wagons and Chevy sedans. That's going to be a real good one.
We heard you at Orlando tell us that the best thing you could ever hope for was to tip another car over, and a guy did that earlier tonight. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did. I guess it wasn't my night to turn one over.
What put you out of your heat?
I busted the bell housing on my transmission, and it shifted in the car on me.
Well, that's a tough break, but we will see you at the Intergalactic Crunch-Off, the finals later on.
I'll be there.
All right, Vic Whaley Jr. keeping an eye on who might be some of his competition down here.
And those are the mechanical problems I spoke of earlier that we can't see, have no way of knowing how the motor mounts are, how the bell housings are, the pans that come off the transmission. Wow, and look at the hit from 429. Whoa, that's smart.
Terry Fannin was magnificent in his heat earlier, and Steve, he has not slowed down a bit. They're going to try to gang up on him. Hitting that car in the back's not going to do anything except beat your own piece up.
Oh, no, he just waved that up like a gnat.
Watch this again now. The 429 car had some great slams earlier in his heat. Watch this again, and there's a lot of smoke coming out of the 757 car. Here you go. He's going to take this. Oh, man, just drilled him and just about took that car right out of here.
And didn't quit with the hit. He finished him off. It's called follow-through in Demo Derby.
He's doing a wonderful job. Terry Fannin has got just about the front of that car pretty much intact. He's trying to keep that away from the other ones, and, oh, a big hit right there at the top. They might not make it to the end of this thing, Steve, but I like the 429 car's chances right now.
Well, so far the crowd not starting to chant, as you saw him do down in Orlando, to try to pick a favorite a little early for that. 2 more minutes, maybe we'll see them get involved. involved and start judging their own derby.
The 44 car's still doing good. There's Buzz right there in the middle. That's Buzz Loveless. He's the guy that was the tip E earlier in the night in that spectacular shot. And a couple of guys trying to keep out of damage. The 45 car's really starting to get beat up. Larry Stats has really got his troubles right now, Steve. He just took a couple of big whacks in the front.
And Buddy gets it going again. I can't believe that. And it goes right into the 44 car and puts the measurable damage to him.
Yep. They're starting to fall by the wayside now. The 22 car is still alive. We talked about him earlier. The 44 car and Tony McDowell, number 21, is also still keeping his car running.
And nobody is running and hiding, because that isn't going to win you. About $1,500 would be first price of it. That jacket, by the way, Charlotte, it comes in coat pockets full of money.
Oh, man. Biggest hit of the night right there. Mark Hibbard, we saw him in that heat earlier. He was the guy that was smiling and laughing, and Steve, you said had the eyes of a fierce competitor. And what a great hit he just put on a couple of the other guys. He may have terminated the blue car.
He may have. I'm saying this man is just rushing with it.
John Purvis, the 757 car. Let's get down to Bobby Gerald.
Well, the 757, guys, is another one that I think has a chance to be declared a winner here in our Dixie Crash Fest. He has really been laying on the hits. I don't know what's going on there at the front end of that car with the flame coming out, but this guy's another one that I think we're going to have to keep our eyes on.
Anybody with a crew chief named Chubby is okay with me.
I think the exhaust collector on that left-hand side got knocked off, and we're just seeing exhaust come over the shortened pipe. Ooh, and 22. He did not like the rock, and he just got there.
No, Miller's been taking a pretty big whack here. He started out with that wagon in the heat earlier, had a lot of friends on hand with him. There's the 888 car. Right down there, Billy Taylor. He was part of that three-man team in the 22X, Brian Miller, and he's still running, Steve, but he is basically sitting there waiting for somebody to come in and take him out. If somebody comes in from the right of the screen, Miller's in big trouble.
The suspensions have started to collapse. There's very little air in any of the tires out there. The guys, even though they run tubes in there, they never run them tubeless. Still, that's a pretty beat puppy out there.
The 888 car was part of that group we talked about earlier that were doing this in memory of one of their friends that was killed last year, and that would be something if he could win this thing. We get the checker flag, and it's going to come down to scoring. From Dutch to Demolition to Terminator, because you got a handful of cars that are still running out there, Steve, and that's going to get down to points.
What's the booth choice on my right here, Bobby?
Oh, I like the 400 car, Steve.
Me too.
I like the 400 car. He did a great job during that whole thing, and he made some big hits as they're climbing out. And what a carnage it is out there right now.
Did you see Escape from L.A.?
No.
That's about what it looks like.
The driver's getting out. Let's get out and find out who Timmy's with.
I'm down here with Brian Miller, and Brian didn't have the big final that he was looking for, but I tell you what, he found out how many friends he had here. Brian, this has got to be a special night for you, even though you didn't come out on top.
Yeah, it's a very special night for me. I found out on the way down here that my great-grandpa passed away, and I was trying to win this one for him, but we didn't accomplish that, but we made every effort to do that tonight. Tag Team Motorsports helped me out a ton tonight. Heck, I just stood back there after the heat, and they basically put the whole front end back on for me. And it was great. I thank all my sponsors, Mead Paper, Tony Throckmorton especially. He helped me out when a lot of other people wouldn't. I lost my transmission right before I come down here, and he helped me out a ton. TST Automotive, everybody back home, help him out all you can.
I tell you what, your great-granddaddy will be proud of you tonight. That's putting on an effort. That's all I can say. Let's go over to Bob Gerald.
All right, Mark Hibbard, we don't know exactly who won yet, but Mark, you were laying some hits, and our announcers up in the booth think that maybe you should be declared the winner.
Thank you. I wish I was, but a buddy of mine won it, so it don't really matter.
You say you know who the winner is already?
A good friend of mine, yeah.
We're getting the word right now. I believe it was the 757 of John Purvis. John's a good friend of yours.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Well, congratulations on a nice job. You know, honorable mention from us at TNN.
Well, I appreciate it.
You got it. We're going to go over and talk to John here in just a moment.
Love the haircut.
And second place will go to 429, and third place will go to car number 45.
That's
Larry Stats,
yep.
yeah.
Larry Stats in the 45 car did a great job in that 429 car. Also, Terry Fannin had a magnificent day here today. That was John Purvis that gets the win here. That's his crew chief, Chubby Mays, and Jeff Mays, and the gang all here with him today. It's funny to look down at that car, Steve, and say, that's the winner. It's like a fight, so I hate to see the other guy. Let's go to Tim.
I'm down here with the winner, number 757, John Purvis.
Hey, John Rutherford, this one's for you at home. I love it, man.
Where are you from, John?
Trenton, Ohio.
The folks in Trenton, Ohio are proud of this man right here. Back up to you fellas, Steve and Bob.
Okay, well, all in all, thanks for a great job, Bobby, Tim, Bob Fry. I'm Steve Evans. Let's go back to Charlotte. We've had a wonderful time here doing Demolition Derby. I really wasn't sure if I'd like this sport at the beginning of the year. You know what? It's strictly for fun, and it's fun to watch.